Hello, everyone, and welcome to Asia Society's Artist-to-Artist Cultural Exchange Zoom session. My name is Joyce. I'm Head of Gallery and Exhibitions at Asia Society Hong Kong Center. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome everyone to this conversation today. We're very lucky to have with us two artists involved in our current exhibition, on show, on display, on site at the Hong Kong Center's Chantal Miller Gallery. And the artists are Violet Shum from Hong Kong and Flavia Robalo from Italy. So thank you both so much for your time. And I'm sure everyone listening in is equally excited to hear about your individual artistic practice and what it was like being a part of this wonderful exhibition. So without further ado, I would love to let Flavia take us through her artistic practice and with the lovely translator to help communicate with us in English. Thank you.
Grazie. Ok, parla pure. Bene, buongiorno a tutti. Hello to everyone. Bene, qui vorrei parlare sul processo della scultura, della prima scultura che ho fatto per Hong Kong. Qui c'è il blocco di marmo dove ho iniziato a lavorare, che ho scelto per lavorare. She would like to introduce the first step of the process. Actually, this is the marble that she chose that Flavia chose, that I chose to do the first sculpture. Il marmo di Carrara si chiama acqua bianca. This is the white marble from Carrara and is called white water. In questo ho voluto iniziare introducendo la tematica con cui io lavoro, che è sulla migrazione. Actually, I want to introduce this theme that is migration. Perché pensavo che era più adatto per questo progetto. And I think that this marble was the exact marble that I want to do for this project. La tematica della migrazione si unisce con questo progetto perché ho pensato che era è un'unione, un momento di comunione con due culture diverse, con due culture che non si conoscono. E per me in questo inizio era un qualcosa di sconosciuto. Non sapevo chi trovavo dall'altra parte, chi doveva essere il mio partner per lavorare, quindi era tutta una scoperta, no? Come una persona che deve viaggiare, che deve andare oltre, non sa chi si trova dall'altra parte, quindi ho pensato che la tematica si legava molto con questo progetto. Actually, I like really much this project because one of the main theme of my life, my entire life, is migration. And when I heard about this project, and I was very thankful to be part of this project, I really feel that this was my story of life, because migration, it's a part of my life, a part of course, my family, and is the meeting of the unknown. And so when I start working with marble and with the idea of what to do, I really feel that was something that marked my entire life. So to be with unknown, to be with the journey, to imagine what can be next. And I really feel that this project will really part of my life. Ho preso come spunto una fotografia dei miei nonni paterni.
Dove sta lavorando, no?
Sì, qui sto lavorando, ho iniziato a lavorare sulla scultura, poi nelle foto successive, se vogliamo vedere, c'è l'inizio dell'opera e una foto in cui ho preso lo spunto, che è la foto dei miei nonni paterni. Ho voluto rappresentare alla mia nonna, non è proprio lei nella scultura, è una bambina, però l'immagine che sta guardando l'orizzonte era l'immagine che mi colpiva.
This is where when I'm working, so was the block of marble that I have to carve. And in the next picture, you will see a picture of my grandparents. So this is also when I'm working. This is the picture of my grandparents. So this is the image, the picture of that helped me in dreaming about this sculpture, because my grandparents were immigrants.
Sono immigranti, sì, lei è spagnola e lui è portoghese.
My grandmother was Spanish and my grandfather was Portuguese.
E loro si sono incontrati in Argentina.
And they met in Argentina.
E l'immagine che stiano guardando l'orizzonte è quello che mi ha colpito. Il vento, io lavoro molto con il vento, quindi questo per me era un simbolo di questo guardare oltre, no?
See the horizon, it means also looking forward. And I start doing this sculpture because I had this image in my head, and it means looking the horizon and try to see what's next.
Flavia,
and actually these are my grandparents.
Yeah, Flavia, I noticed that in one of the sculptures that you co-created with Violet, there is that statue of that little girl looking out to sea, exactly like that. So perhaps, you were inspired from this family photograph.
Sei stata ispirata da questa foto per fare questa bambina che guarda davanti.
Sì.
Exactly, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Eri stata ispirata da questa bambina guarda all'orizzonte.
Mm-hmm.
Dillo.
Sì, questa bambina guarda all'orizzonte l'idea di guardare questa unione, questo progetto, questa idea di unione fra due culture era quello che mi ispirava per fare quest'opera.
Actually, this imagine actually also she helped her because she was thinking about the union of the two culture. Of course, so looking forward and looking the horizon, it means also looking to something that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think also that it means also looking to another culture that I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And of course, there is a meeting point.
Yes, and there it is. That's the exact sculpture we were talking about. And this is Flavia's sculptural creation before the input of Violet. So we haven't yet seen the wooden aspect added to it, but it's a great photo to have for the audience to see the sculpture in its raw form. Yeah.
Sì, stai dicendo che questa è proprio la scultura iniziale senza quella di Violet.
Sì. Questa è la scultura iniziale e questo è il mio pensiero iniziale.
Mm-hmm.
È l'idea che questa bambina ha i piedi nell'acqua e l'acqua sarebbe il punto di unione di questi continenti, no? Quindi lei già sta toccando l'altra sponda.
Actually, this little girl, she has already her feet in the water. So there is already create a connection with the water and with the other continent, actually. So this is the union. So the water unify two different, for example, continents.
And it's interesting to note to both Flavia and Violet that over the course of the past 6 weeks that the exhibition has been opening, you know, the gallery team here at Asia Society hears a lot of the visitor feedback. And when people come across this piece of artwork, this little girl, it's interesting. People don't know what she's standing on. So now we hear directly from Flavia that you imagine this little girl to be with her feet in the water. Some people think it's in the sand. Some people think it's in cement. And so it's open to a lot of different interpretations as well.
Molte persone pensavano che io avessi i piedi sulla sabbia, altri nel cemento, invece tu adesso stai spiegando che
è nell'acqua, sì. È nell'acqua, è l'acqua come mezzo di unione, di movimento e di trasporto, no? Come un simbolo del viaggio anche.
The water like a symbol of a trip, of a journey. The water like a symbol of movement, and the water like a symbol of union.
And that's more of the process. How many tools do you use, Flavia?
Quanti strumenti usi per scolpire, per lavorare?
Tanti. Qui ce l'ho, per esempio, una cosa basica che si usa, era solo per un esempio.
A lot of tools, and she wants just to show some of the basic tools used.
You know,
it's like a hammer, but automatic hammer.
Yeah.
Esto si usa con aria compresa.
There is a compressed hair.
Yeah.
Fa percussione.
It's a kind of percussion.
Si lavora con differenti
different edges, thinner, thicker.
Materiale.
È un lavoro di forza, no?
È un lavoro di forza.
You have to be strong to use this kind of tool.
Poi ci sono macchine per tagliare il marmo.
For the uninitiated, those tools look like a very aggressive dentist.
Yeah, sembrano molto aggressivi. Beh, tu fai un disegno, no, sul marmo prima?
Io sì, tante volte faccio il disegno sul marmo, non lavoro con bozzetti, lavoro tutto per esempio in quel caso avevo iniziato da una foto, ma generalmente inizio da un'immagine, però 2D. Non disegno molto, faccio un disegno forse e non faccio bozzetti.
She said that the creative process is that she, for example, in this moment, she took the picture, so she started from a picture, then she made a small drawing on the marble, and then everything is in her mind, and she started carving.
Very interesting. And we're going through some pictures of, oh, look at that, the site-specific pieces that are now exhibiting at Asia Society Hong Kong Center. And these are the smaller pieces that, you know, both Flavia and Violet handled. And there's that recurring theme of that little girl kind of emerging from the water.
Sì, sempre sono sempre con la stessa idea delle ragazze nell'acqua.
Always with the same idea of the girls in the water.
Sempre con l'idea dell'acqua come unione, l'acqua come il mezzo di trasporto.
Always with the idea of the water like union and also a way of transportation.
quello che, non so se posso parlare di quello che mi ha sorpreso di Violet, è che anche lei lavora con le conchiglie, a me mi sembravano semi anche all'inizio.
And what she found very, very extraordinary, that also Violet works with shells. And at first she was thinking that they were kind of seeds.
Perché anche quello è simbolo per me di viaggio, di connessione, di migrazione.
And also shells, like seeds, are symbol of migration, because they are transported by wind or by water.
That's very poetic.
Molto pratico.
Lì si vedono gli uccelli, che è anche un altro elemento che io uso molto per simbolizzare questa tematica. Sempre sì.
And are these photographs taken from your studio in Italy, Flavia?
Queste foto sono state prese dal tuo studio in Italia?
Sì, sì, sì.
Yes, actually, I think that the birds also migration, so they fly, they use the wind to go around. The wind, yes.
Yeah.
And these pictures are taken from this studio where we are now.
Wonderful. Right. And so thank you, Flavia, for your sharing. And that's a lovely picture of you two actually standing in the gallery at ASHK Society. And I think now is a good time also to segue to Violet's sharing and her slideshows. And I just realized I'm wearing Violet for Violet today.
Wow, thank you.
Viole per viole.
You're so lovely.
Yeah. All right, Violet.
Okay.
Over to you.
Yes. Sorry, I'm Violet. I will present in Cantonese because it's my mother language, so more comfortable for me.
Absolutely.
So Joy will help me to translate.
Interpret. Yeah.
喺度，我想首先講就係關於未分享我創作過程之前，我想分享下究竟我同 Flavia 點樣溝通。頭先大家都聽過 Flavia 咧係講意大利文啦，咁我自己母語係廣東話。咁其實我哋兩個溝通咧，其實都有啲障礙嘅，但係真係好多謝而家嘅科技啦，幫我哋打破咗呢個語言障礙咯。不過最重要就係其實我覺得我哋兩個其實有啲好多相似嘅地方，而呢個相似地方無論係意念啦。做嘅作品某啲程度有少少相似啦，令到我哋嘅合作其實係好完美咯。我哋個作品或者我哋溝通係超越咗語言啦。我想最重要係講呢樣嘢。
So,
okay.
So Violet wanted to share that the whole process of this exhibition has been nothing short of miraculous. I mean, clearly there is the language barrier between Cantonese and Italian, but Violet feels very grateful for modern technology, its existence, and the ability to be able to speak with Flavia, and to a certain extent, you know, over the exhibition preparation period, Violet on a very personal level felt that the original barriers just sort of dissolved and melted away to the point where it was a non-issue. And her form of communication, artist to artist, between Violet and Flavia almost surpassed language itself. So they just very seamlessly work together as co-creators.
Yes. 咁喺下一張 photo 咧，你見到呢個咧就係原本一嚿我嘅作品嘅原型嚟嘅，同之前嘅 art 一樣，都係一個從颱風打落嚟嘅樹啦。或者大家好難想像到佢最後尾變成點樣啦。咁大家可以望下下一張。
Yeah, and this is a very important, go back, please, image that Violet wanted to share, as this is the the sculpture's raw material in its most raw form. Similar to a lot of other Hong Kong artists involved in this fusion exhibition project, a lot of the source material, the woodwork in Hong Kong, actually came from the results of a very natural typhoon in Hong Kong a couple of years ago. It was a major sort of natural weather situation in which a lot of wood, old trees were felled, and the artists were able to collect some of this discarded or felled wood, including this piece, which you see on the screens right now, which Violet chose to use for her sculpture. And this is, you might want to remember this image in the back of your head, just so you know what it then became and the evolution of it. To the next slide.
所以你見到係啦，而家喺張圖裏邊咧，喺右手邊張圖，你見到其實我開始去處理一個好大一個 wolf 嘅 shape 㗎啦。咁我首先會用一啲筆啦喺上邊咧畫咗一啲線條，我會沿住啲線條咧去切割咯。咁有時你做一個咁大嘅 sculpture 其實好難一日完成嘅，亦都冇可能啦。咁我有時翻屋企咧會繼續去諗啦，所以我翻到屋企咧，你見到喺左手邊啲圖咧，我會繼續用我個 tablet 啫喺上邊咧再畫上去啦。咁呢個第一個階段咧，我哋同時間係5個 Hong Kong artist 咧都喺個農場嗰度處理咗個大型先嘅。
So the picture you see here is of Violet at work. That's her in the visor. She's working outdoors on the site of another one of the Hong Kong artists involved in this project, fellow artist Ho Yun Leung. This is his exterior studio space, and Violet wants to draw your attention to how that rough piece of collected wood then starts taking shape. So Violet's working method is to first draw lines onto the wood that she then starts carving to create a general outline of the final sculpture that she's creating. And it's important also to underline from Violet's perspective that nothing good comes overnight. So this was a long process. It took many days, many nights of thinking, dreaming, sleeping about it. Thinking about it, you know, in her sleep, I mean. And on the left side of the screen, you see Violet's follow-up work after the rough physical renderings that she's creating with those electric tools. Here, she's gone back home, and even when she's left the actual piece of wood in the studio, back in an interior space, she's continuing to develop the final sculpture by using modern technology, using her tablet to then try and figure out different shapes that this sculpture might take.
Yes. 咁喺呢張度咧，你見到其實左邊同右邊個形狀都好相似嘅。其實右邊嗰張圖咧，個大型差唔多都完成㗎啦。咁呢個階段之後咧，其實我就會拎翻去我個木工工作室嗰度繼續做啦。因為喺田嗰度咧，其實我哋唔可以日以繼夜咁做啦，咁所以就會搬翻去工作室啦。
So here again, you see a sort of before and after image where on the right side, by and large, the sculpture's form has taken its final shape. And at this stage, Violet will then take this unfinished shape back into her own studio, because in Hong Kong, at least, it's impossible to work sort of outdoors in this space for long periods of time. So at that current stage, she can then bring it back sort of in a city into an urban surrounding to continue.
咁你見到而家咧就搬咗翻去一個木工工作室嗰度做啦。咁開始就會用多少少手動工具啦。咁你見到最右邊嘅圖咧，其實個差唔多完成㗎啦。你見到個樣係啦。
And this is the piece in progress. So Violet has taken that rough shape and she's continuing to work on it now using handheld tools rather than powered tools. And on the very right-hand corner of this slide, you'll see the final sculpture really taking shape.
咁 跟住下一張咧，你就會見到其實呢個咧就係我嘅木作品send 去意大利之前嘅唔同角度啦。咁我想大家就係望下其實我好中意做3D 嘅創作嘅，因為我覺得每個角度都係特別嘅。
Thank you. So Violet is just saying that this is the final piece of woodwork that she crafted right before it got shipped to Italy for Flavia to see. And this is just Violet really stepping back and enjoying her work, because it's important to underscore to everyone listening today that sculpture is very present, it's three-dimensional, and it's sort of alive in front of the artist. And when you walk around it, it looks different at every angle. So hence the same object can be photographed here 4 times and look different every time. So it's very exciting at this moment in the journey of creation, like right before it's sent to the partner artist, who's Flavia. Yeah.
所以跟住嗰張圖咧，就大家會見到我收翻嚟個作品咧，就係係啦，呢個就係我收翻嚟 Flavia 喺我嘅木作品上邊咧加咗啲雀仔。其實我收到呢個作品嗰陣時咧，我好感動嘅，因為咧我自己個創作個呢個木嘅貝殼咧，其實我係當一個貝殼啦。個貝殼就好似一個家咁啦，特別喺呢幾年疫情，究竟我哋或者呢幾年嘅嘅變動啦，究竟我哋屋企喺邊度咧？咁我用咗貝殼去寓意咗個屋企，而隨海漂流咁樣咯。咁但係我見到個雀仔交上去，其實好感動嘅位就係大家都知道動物或者雀仔咧，其實係好敏感嘅。當嗰啲動物願意停留喺嗰度，其實代表嗰度就係安全咯。咁我覺得令到成個作品係更加更加 concrete 咗咯。係呢個好感動嘅位嚟嘅。
This is the final piece, actually, after Flavia had added the marble elements to complete the work jointly together with Violet. And Violet is really expressing her how moved she was when she first received this co-created piece back in Hong Kong. And to see the additions of those marble wings that Flavia had created to insert into this wooden sculpture. And why it's so touching for Violet is really because the marble sculptures are shaped in wing form. And to Violet, this is really a consolidation of her ethos and her goal in creating this sculpture, because animals are very sensitive creatures and they will only nest when it's safe to do so. So by adding these wings to the shell-like shape that Violet has created, it's really kind of hammering home the idea that this is a safe haven. So it created this sort of perfect arc to the story of the storyline of creating this particular piece.
Yes. 咁呢個咧就係第二個作品。咁呢個就係 Flavia 做嗰個女仔啦。頭先大家都見到，咁佢個女仔隻手望住前邊啦，好似有啲困惑咁樣啦。咁隻腳又踩住啲水啦。咁我即會聯想到我自己嗰個狀態，究竟呢個女仔係咪都係我咧？都係想揾一個地方去停留咧。咁所以咧，我做咗一個浪啦，隨住風推進啦，咁而喺環繞住佢啦，跟住佢腳下咧有一個貝殼啦，同我之前嘅概念一樣，都係代表個家啦。咁我哋呢個作品咧，其實如果大家喺展覽廳度見到咧，其實你哋會見到我同 Flavia 嗰個 connection 咯。同埋我哋投放咗好多感情喺裏邊嘅，真係。
And this is another very emotional piece that was created both by Violet and Flavia. And for this, as you know, as what Flavia has already mentioned earlier, the little girl's feet are in the water, and Violet wanted to play on that. And so the wooden creation created is almost a sort of a current, a wave, kind of enveloping the little girl. And the wave sort of finishes, the arc finishes on a shell shape at the bottom of her feet, which continues that theme that both Violet and Flavia have been working on in both pieces, and indeed across all 6 pieces that they created for this exhibition. And I am personally quite moved to hear that Violet really felt that this little girl could be her. You know, is that expression her? Is that her inside that sculpture? Because that's really kind of what she was feeling as she was working on this piece. So perhaps, you know, to Violet's mind, in the process of developing these 2 larger sculptures, it's really charting the story of her, you know, growing friendship with Flavia as well.
Yes。咁喺右上嗰張圖，其實見到我將呢個圓形嘅木咧，切咗啦，跟住反咗上邊啦。咁喺右邊嗰張相，其實差唔多已經完成啦，第2個作品。
And this is work in progress images from Violet, where you can see that she's playing with figuring out how to flip that piece of wood so that it's at an angle that looks correct to Violet. And on the right hand side of this image, you kind of see the near finished piece that she's working on.
咁後邊嗰張相就最刺激，就係最撚尾一個步驟，我就要將 Flavia 個石咧轉一個窿。其實呢個步驟咧好恐怖嘅，好 scary， 因為我 I realize I will break her up piece。So 你見到啦，有2個mentor 喺度幫我睇住啦，咁樣。
兩個裝男。
Yes， 係啦。
So this image documents a very hazardous moment in the creation journey. So at one point, in order to affix that piece of wood that wraps around the marble sculpture, Violet at one point had to turn the marble piece around and drill a hole into it, which is clearly very scary. And so Violet is actually being mentored by 2 other artists involved in this project. We can see Ho Yun-lung in the glasses and Danny Lee in the cat. And they're, you know, fingers crossed, hoping nothing breaks in the process of drilling a hole into it.
Yes. 咁呢個就係Fusion 2另外2個作品。咁我收到 Flavia 嘅相嗰陣時咧，其實我第一個腦就已經用個 tablet draw 咗一個相，即係想像落去咯，係啦。咁呢張咧就係啦，呢個圓啦。
So this image is just showing the sketches and the preparatory drafts that Violet uses in order to plan what she might want to create in conjunction with the marble pieces that Flavia has created.
Yes. 跟住下邊張相就見到，其實呢個係我自己工作室嘅空間嚟嘅。大家會見到發唔發現到我做緊邊個作品咧？同埋喺右上角咧有一棵好大嘅好原始嘅木材嘅。咁我通常做細作品會喺工作室裏邊做啦，但係如果我開好大嘅木材咧，我通常都會喺工作室外邊做咯。因為下一張相講埋下一個 slide 就係。因為我中意喺出邊做，就係因為我出邊大啲啦，同埋個陽光，我個工作室係向住東邊嘅，咁個陽光照落嚟咧，其實係好靚嘅。
So very technical here. So Violet's own studio is east facing, so it draws good light. And for managing larger pieces of wood, Violet prefers to do it outside her studio. And when she's handling smaller pieces of wood, she prefers to do it inside her studio.
咁呢個就係我喺工作室外邊上一張。
We go back.
呢個就係啦，呢個就係我上一張sorry 啊，係啦，呢張就係喺你見到啦，其實個陽光好靚嘅，朝頭早喺嗰度工作，咁我就會做一啲細型嘅切割啦，同埋啲打磨嘅工序咯。呢個就係差唔多完成嘅作品，我會嘗試係睇下唔同邊個角度會好睇，將會展示俾觀眾嘅。
And these 2 pieces are near completion, and at this stage, Violet will review and see which piece is best suited to showcase to the public.
Yes. 咁 咁最後嗰張就係想展示俾大家睇，其實呢4件作品咧都係 Fusion 24件作品嚟嘅。呢4件作品咧而家都係已經有唔同嘅角度俾大家睇到，希望大家係睇雕塑嗰陣時咧可以從唔同角度睇啦，咁會有唔同嘅感覺咯。咁呢個就係雕塑嘅我覺得最特別嘅地方。
And Violet is concluding by saying that the magic and the beauty of sculpture is that it looks different every angle you look at it. So she invites everyone to come see the finished pieces in the gallery at ASHK Society, and you can go look at it in the round and see which angle speaks to you most.
Yes, that is.
Thank you so much.
I can move you.
Yes. Let's go back to shared screen. Thank you. We'll go back to, we're going back to the discussion. So we can close the slideshow. One second. So thank you both for sharing your stories so wonderfully. And there are very many questions I think that the audience would love to know about. And indeed, we already have some questions from the audience, which we may come to in a bit. But I think we're interested to start from the very beginning. And that is, you know, as part of this exhibition, we involve 10 artists, correct? 5 from Hong Kong and 5 from Italy, working together as pairs. But how did you two come to choose each other? Why you two?
Perché voi due?
È stato un sorteggio. Hanno fatto una specie di gioco per non ferire nessuno, no?
Actually, they did a kind of game. So it was like the chance that match.
E ognuno ha dovuto scegliere, mettere in primo posto, secondo, terzo, quarto, quinto, chi sceglievamo.
And each of them should have written the first, second, third, fourth artist that they would like to match.
E io ho scelto Violet.
And she chose Violet.
E ci siamo scelti a vicenda.
And so they choose themselves, each others.
Ma penso che è successo anche con le altre coppie. È stata una coincidenza molto bella.
And also the other couple that just matched in this way. So it was a coincidence, but it was the thing that should happen probably.
Yes. A kind of fate.
Yes.
And in our previous Zoom discussions, you know, between Hao Yunleng and Jacob Cartwright, they also mentioned the same. And we're just verifying that the same process was used
Yes.
for everyone involved. But from Violet, 你又點睇咧？即係你要揀一個適宜自己嘅合作夥伴好重要嘅。咁你又認為點解你要揀中阿 Flavia 咧？
其實初揀嗰陣時，冇啊！我睇到佢作品其實已經好中意，同埋個腦已經好似好多嘢係喺個腦嗰度出現咗咁。咁所以我其實第一個揀佢，亦都好開心，真係 pair 到咯，係啊。
Oh, that's so sweet. So Violet is saying that, yes, Flavia was her first choice, but mainly it was due, not down to games, it was due to Flavia's work. So Violet saw Flavia's work and just thought it was so beautiful. And looking at it, like, instantly gave her so many ideas and thoughts in her head. It started sort of brimming with activity. So she knew it was going to be a good partnership. Kind of
Yes.
from beyond.
I pray for this.
Yeah.
Ha pregato che fossi tu tra i partner, avessi i tuoi lavori incredibili, ha detto io voglio lavorare con lei.
Yeah.
Che
And
bello.
about the, in this exhibition, clearly it's a fusion of two cultures, two artists, two materials. And this is where the materiality is so important, marble and wood. And in the wood that Violet was focusing on just now, there's actually one piece called Nave, where the wood is very aromatic. It smells very special. So the question for Flavia is, what were your initial reactions when you received that piece of wood that had an extra smell to it?
Che profumava tantissimo.
Sì.
Qual è stata la prima reazione?
Ma io sono innamorata della canfora. Questo profumo mi è rimasto nello spazio per tantissimo tempo.
Actually, when she opened the box, she smiled and incredible. She loved that perfume and actually remained inside of her studio for a long time.
Sì, mi sono tenuta dei pezzettini anche.
She also took some pieces.
Holding it hostage.
Ho fatto sì, no,
you.
ho dovuto fare dei buchi per mettere gli uccellini, no? E allora questa segatura me la sono tenuta.
She had to do some small holes to put the birds.
Yes.
So these little parts she took.
Great. So I bet Flavia now has a very nice smelling studio.
Yes.
我應該俾啲佢。
Hiya.
No?
And
Sì,
now,
sì.
now that you both have experience infusing these two materials together, are there any other materials that you would be interested in experimenting with each other? So beyond wood and marble, is there any other material you would like to try?
Ho sperimentato l'insieme tra marmo e legno. Ci sono altri
Violet,
materiali
Daisy?
che tu
好啊，我其實有嘅，我其實中意做金屬嘅物料嘅，因為我覺得金屬嘅物料比較冰冷啦，好似好 masculine 好男性，但係我覺得佢應該 suppose 有另一個 being 喺個 material 裏邊，我想發掘佢女性嘅一面，所以我就中意金屬嘅物料，同埋會另一樣嘅物料我喜歡咯，金屬嘅物料。
That's super interesting. So Violet would definitely be interested in experimenting with other materials, specifically metals or steel, because it's cold to her. It feels very masculine, and she would like to draw out some sort of the femininity of that particular material. So more to explore.
di femminile con il metallo, tipo iron. Quello mi piacerebbe integrare.
Mi piacerebbe a lei, sì. E io uso molto il bronzo e il metallo perché anche faccio delle saldature e la mischio con il legno e con il marmo e avevo già mischiato anche il marmo con il legno.
I experiment a lot with different materials, so I've already done some experiments with iron and bronze and wood, wood and marble. Yeah.
Sì,
Bronzo.
Metallo con marmo.
Metal and marble.
That's very interesting.
So see, we are the same material choose.
Yes, avete scelto lo stesso materiale. Yes.
Excellent. And here, speaking about materials, we have a question from the audience. Question from Jenny. So could Violet tell us a little bit more about the wood finish? Is it wood staining? Jenny is one of our volunteer docents here at ASHK Society, and she's led several tours for us. So thank you, Jenny. And clearly she's seen the sculpture of the little girl surrounded by a protective wave, and it's so comforting. So that's a very lovely comment from her. The question we answered, is there any staining on the wood, Violet?
係咪即係有冇打？即係
有冇上色啊？
冇上色，冇上色嘅。但係你見到頭先喺個 presentation 過程，佢係好淺色嘅。
係啊，
原因我要上咗一個 olive oil for protect 佢咯，所以就深咗色啦。因為我哋用啲油令到佢更加滋潤咗嗰個 oil， 即係個木咯，等佢冇咁烈啦。可以滋潤咗佢咁，好似個搽潤膚膏咁樣。
明白。So, Violet's reply to the question about whether or not the wood was stained, the short answer is no. There is no additional coloring added to the wood, but the color of the wood has changed from its raw state because Violet added olive oil as a protective mechanism for the wood. And the way you can think of that, it's sort of, in Violet's wood, it's like moisturizing cream for the wood. And that's why it's turned darker.
Yes.
Per quello sembra un po' più scuro.
So thank you for that question. And another question from an anonymous attendee is directed at Flavia. So our audience is thanking Flavia for sharing your family photo and for us to know that when you created the sculpture, it came from the heart. So the question to both artists is, do your other works beyond this exhibition or within this exhibition, the other 5 works, do they also derive from your childhood memory?
E le tue lavoro di questa esibizione e altre derivano proprio dalla tua memoria di quando eri bambina oppure anche da altre cose?
Sì, derivano dalla mia memoria da quando ero bambina e da quello che immaginavo dalle storie dei miei nonni, della mia mamma che era italiana, sì, dalle storie familiari.
Oppure anche quelle altre no?
No, sempre un qualcosa di molto personale. Lavoro molto con la bambina interiore e penso che anche per quello risuona. Se vuoi tradurre un po'.
She actually, I work a lot and I remember a lot about my childhood, and when I do any kind of sculpture, it's something that comes out from my past, so when I was a child. And sì, questa no? La tua bambina, your childhood.
Sì, yeah. Sì. Yeah. Penso che per quello anche risuona molto nelle altre persone.
And I think that this is why other person also feel this feeling, because I think everyone is a child, no, inside.
Absolutely. Thank you, Flavia. Violet 有冇啲咩補充啊？
有啊，
都要喺你個童年回憶嘅去採礦啊。
頭先聽到佢分享，你會感受到其實我哋每個人嘅作品咧背後都有個故仔，而嗰個背後故仔咧係好真實嘅，而呢個故仔就會係令到觀眾都會感受得到咯。如果我哋真係灌注咗我哋嘅感情落去，所以其實我哋呢度我同 Flavia 都有同樣嘅好類似嘅經歷咯，咁樣，都係有同樣將自己嘅感情啦、曾經經歷過事啦放入去咯。
So Violet feels very much the same way, and lucky for her, both Violet and Flavia approach their creations in a similar method. So they put themselves into the artwork, which means by default, you harvest your memories and real lived experiences. So it's not just made up, like it is things that have happened personally to them. Yeah. And from Violet's perspective, when that is the case, the artwork that is produced is more moving to the audience because it's real.
In questo modo arriva all'audience.
Sì. Sì,
Mm.
volevo dire che è come giocare come quando eravamo bambini.
It's like play when we were very little.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Costruire dei mondi
Building words
Yeah,
dove possiamo starci
where we can
e
stay
proteggerci.
and protect ourselves.
that's lovely.
Yes.
And another question from members of the audience, another anonymous attendee, and this question and feedback is directed at Violet. So the question is, hello, Violet, is it a signature of yours to use aromatic wood in your sculptures? I can't wait to come visit the show. Thank you all. So absolutely. So in our audience today, we have some people who have very kindly already visited the exhibition. And if you haven't yet, we welcome you, definitely. The gallery is open every day, Tuesday to Sunday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. No admission fee, no pre-registration required. So if any of this conversation excites you or triggers you or is important to you, definitely come back and see the real product that you can see in its production stages in our presentation today. But thank you for the question. And Violet.
OK，冇錯，我其實好中意用嗰啲樟木嘅，好似 Flavia 咁講，其實真係好香嘅。當我去接近嗰陣時咧，其實充滿咗成個工作室都係啲香味咯。除咗係觸感之外，其實嗰個味覺嘅享受都係好好嘅。咁所以我都好似即係好鼓勵大家去親身去經驗下，去睇個作品之餘，都可以聞下嗰陣味啦。係啦。
Thank you, Violet. So the answer to the question is yes. Violet does enjoy using aromatic wood as part of her artistic practice. And that is because in the creation process, Violet gets to enjoy it as well. It makes the studio smell nice. It's a nicer material to work with. So definitely, yes, she plans on continuing to use that as a feature of her work. And thank you to the audience for being so enthusiastic. I have some questions of my own that I would love to ask.
Go on.
Yes, I know that, a lot of people are very taken with the image of that little girl looking sort of across the sea. And I think it's so poetic for Flavia to mention about looking forwards and across the horizon. But in this 2-year process of creating this exhibition, and real friendships have developed, and we've all been through ups and downs of this exhibition process. I wonder, how much of your work is about looking backwards as well?
Flavia 我唔知憶起嗰個片段係咪叫做 looking backward，即係我哋做緊我哋自己，即係我哋嘅回憶啦，或者我哋經歷嘅事，其實某程度都係過咗去嘅。咁呢個都係叫做即係向後望咧。我唔知係咪，其實向前望向後望，可能係同一點嚟，我覺得好遠啊。
好遠，好遠。And Flavia?
Yes, sorry. Could you please repeat, because you were a little bit interrupted.
That's okay. How much of your work is about looking backwards on top of yes, besides looking forward like that little girl?
Quanto la tua ragazza guarda avanti e continuerà a guardare, o guarda indietro e continuerà a guardare? Quanto continuerà a guardare?
Penso che non si finirà di guardare avanti.
We will never stop looking forward. We will never stop looking forward.
Wonderful. That's really interesting, because Violet's interpretation is that looking forwards and looking backwards might actually be the same.
Yes.
Secondo Violet, guardare davanti, guardare indietro sarà lo stesso. E tu?
Sì, io penso che emergere i piedi nelle radici per guardare avanti fa che viviamo il presente. Sono le radici.
She said, having the feet with the strong roots, so it means the roots is the past, helps you in looking the future, you know, looking the present and looking the future.
No, e per vivere
and to live really in a nice way the present.
Absolutely. Thank you. So it's about feeling rooted.
Mettere i piedi nelle radici, cioè emergere,
Mettendo le radici, i piedi nelle radici,
sì, fa che possiamo guardare il futuro perché ci alimentano le radici.
The roots help us because they give us like feeding, they feed us. And the roots help us in looking the present and the future.
No.
Il futuro, no?
Ci fa guardare il futuro, sì, perché ci alimenta e quello fa che viviamo il presente, no?
We can look
Costruiamo il
the
presente.
future and we can create the present through the roots.
That's amazing.
We
will definitely think on that. And I remember at the beginning, Flavia also mentioned an overarching theme of migration. And, you know, when people move, the roots move too, perhaps. And, you know, Flavia, your grandparents moved from Spain and Portugal, meeting in Argentina, and you now find yourself in Italy. Sort of, will you be on the move again? Or is Italy home?
Dopo migrazioni dei tuoi genitori dalla
non lo so.
I don't know. Come
non
parla un po' del tuo presente.
Sì. Mi piace viaggiare, mi piace scoprire i nuovi orizzonti. Per ora sono qua, però ho sempre una idea di andare oltre. So che il mondo è grande, chi lo sa.
Yes, I like now where I am, but I'm always looking around to discover, because I know that there are a lot of different countries. I like to travel. So I'm here, I'm happy to be here, but I'm always looking around.
E le radici me li porto con me.
And the roots always comes with me.
Amazing.
Always are with me.
我想補充一句，
當然啦，係啊，你都未講，係啊。
因為我頭先聽到佢講佢未知嗰樣嘢，我覺得好好，因為就係好似我貝殼咁啦，即係你當初屋企喺個海度啦，跟住如果你上咗個沙灘上邊啦，嗰個 suppose 係你屋企啦，其實係咪真係咧？其實我哋就好似阿 Flavia 咁講，嗰個未知就係我哋會一路向前。即係個未知其實就係我哋會去向前嗰一步咯，我覺得。
So Violet really wanted to bring out the idea that, you know, so much of their co-created sculptures use that motif of shells, right? And, you know, when sea creatures get washed on shore from water to sand, and they find themselves in the sand, is that really their home? Violet's point is that the unknown, the uncertainty of where is home may actually prove to be the moving force where you find that.
Yes.
Le radici forti, perché le radici sono casa.
但係我哋個根咧仍然都喺同一笪地方嘅。
Yeah. So you're permanently searching is kind of the mode. Yeah. And so with that thought, I would like to thank both artists, Violet and Flavia, for joining us today. I'm sure we all learned a lot, and we're incredibly grateful to be able to showcase all 6 pieces of your co-created sculptures here at Asia Society. And I would warmly invite, recommend, and encourage everyone to come see the sculptures for themselves. The exhibition will be on in Hong Kong until the end of June. So definitely reach out if you have any further queries. And thank you all so much for listening today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.